Today, we're going to address the question of should you recast your mortgage? Now, you probably heard that a mortgage recast could lower your monthly payment and save you money on interest, but it's not the right move for everyone. So in this video, I'll explain what a mortgage recast is, how it works, the pros and cons, and my personal opinion about mortgage recasts. By the way, I'm Sam Kwok, a certified financial education instructor, serial entrepreneur, and a real estate investor. My brother and I have helped thousands of clients at Accelerated Strategies, a personal financial education company, to take control of their finances and pay off their debt faster. So let's dive in and answer the question, should you recast your mortgage? First, let's start with the basics. What is a mortgage recast? A mortgage recast, also called a loan reamortization, is when your lender recalculates or recasts your monthly payment based on the new lower balance. Now, this frequently happens as you pay down a significant amount of principal along the way, or you decide to make a lump sum payment to save interest costs. Now, the key here is that your interest rate and the loan term stay the same, only your monthly payment changes. So to help really understand this further, here's an example. Let's say you have a $300,000 mortgage with a 4% interest rate and 25 years left to go on a 30-year mortgage. And given those parameters, let's say your monthly payment is around $1,600. Now, you come into some extra cash, say $50,000, and you use it to pay down your principal mortgage balance. Now, after this payment, your balance drops to $250,000. Now, with the mortgage recast, your lender re-amortizes the loan over the remaining 25 years, and your new monthly payment might drop to around $1,300. You're still paying 4% interest, and you still have 25 years left to go, but your monthly payment is lower because the principal is smaller. Now, I do want to let you know that not all lenders and banks offer recasting, and there's typically a small fee, typically $150 to $500 to process it. Also, recasting is completely different than refinancing, which involves getting a new loan with a new interest rate and a new term. So to put it simply, recasting keeps your existing loan terms, but adjusts the payment. So let's go into some practicality at talking about how does a mortgage recast work in practice. The process is pretty straightforward, but there are a few steps. First, you need to check with your lender to see if they allow recasting in the first place. Most conventional loans will qualify, but if you have an FHA or a VA loan, they typically don't. And you may also need to meet your lender's requirement, like a minimum lump sum payment, which is often $5,000 or more. And then next, you may need to make a large payment towards your principal. Then you request a recast from your lender, pay the recasting fee, and they'll re-amortize your loan. And from there, they'll calculate your new monthly payment based on the reduced principal, keeping the same interest rate and the remaining term. And once the recast is complete, you start making the lower monthly payments. So as an example, if you recast that $300,000 mortgage down to $250,000, as I mentioned earlier, your payment drops from $1,600 to $1,300. That's an extra $300 of cash flow you just recovered. But here's the catch. While your monthly payment goes down, you're still on the hook for the full 25 years, and it actually might cost you more in the long run when it comes to your interest cost. So let's go ahead and transition into some of the pros and cons to see if this is really worth it for you. So let's start with the pros, the upside of recasting your mortgage. Upside number one is obviously lower monthly payment. Now, the biggest upside and the benefit is that your monthly payment decreases after the recast, which can free up your cash flow for other expenses, investments, or perhaps savings. So if you're looking to ease your monthly budget, this could be a big win by recasting your mortgage. Upside number two is, unlike refinancing, recasting doesn't require a new credit check or even a home appraisal in most cases. This certainly makes it easier and faster to do, especially if your credit has taken a hit or your home's value hasn't really increased over the years. Upside number three is that if you locked in a really low interest rate on your mortgage, say 3% or 4% fixed rate, recasting lets you keep that same rate. But with refinancing, you might actually end up with a higher rate, especially in a rising environment like we've seen in the recent years. Upside number four is that recasting fees are usually just a few hundreds of dollars, while refinancing can cost 2 to 6% of your loan amount as closing costs, thousands of dollars. So recasting is a more affordable way to adjust your payments every single month. Now, here's a bonus tip for those that are familiar with accelerated banking concept. You know that in accelerated banking, you could potentially pay off your mortgage in less than 5 to 7 years. So as you chunk down your principal balance on your mortgage using accelerated banking, you could also recast your mortgage so that you have more cash flow to lower the average daily balance on the line of credit. So if you want to learn more about this topic, let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to make a separate video on that topic. So those are some of the benefits of recasting your mortgage, but there are also some downsides to consider as well. So then let's go and look at the cons or the downsides of recasting your mortgage. Downside number one is that you don't shorten your loan term. So when you recast, your loan term stays the same. Now, in our previous example, you still have 25 years left to go to pay off the mortgage. That means you're not paying off your mortgage any faster, and you're actually not saving money on interest either as you would with other strategies. And so downside number two, because your loan term doesn't change, you'll actually end up paying more interest over the life of the loan compared to keeping your original payment after a lump sum. So for example, if you recast a $250,000 balance over 25 years at 4% interest, you'll pay about $148,000 of interest. But if you kept your original monthly payment on top of the lump sum payment, you could pay off the loan in about 15 years and only pay $49,000 of interest. That's almost $100,000 more in interest with a recast, just because you're stretching out the payments. Downside number three is that you need a large lump sum amount. So recasting does require a significant payment up front, which not everyone has that. If you don't have extra cash laying around, this option may not be available to you. Downside number four is that not all loans qualify. Now, as I mentioned earlier, FHA and VA loans typically don't allow recasting, and some lenders have restrictions or don't offer recasting at all. So you'll need to check with your lender to see if you are eligible. So those downsides and cons can be a deal breaker for some people. So let's get into some of my personal opinion as an advocate of accelerated banking, as well as a certified education instructor. So here's my ultimate take on mortgage recasting. I think recasting can be a good option for some people, but it's not the best way to pay off your mortgage faster, and it could actually cost you more in the long run. You see, recasting is great if your main goal is to lower your monthly payment, and if you're really happy staying in debt for the full term of the loan in exchange for a higher costed interest, then it could be for you. For example, if you've come into a large sum of money like inheritance or bonus, and you want to increase your monthly positive cash flow without changing your interest rate, recasting could make sense. It's a low-cost way of freeing up cash flow, and it's less hassle than refinancing. But here's where I have a problem with it. Recasting doesn't align with the principles that I teach here at Accelerated Strategies, which is all about paying off your debt as quickly as possible and minimizing the interest costs you pay over the life of your loan. As I mentioned earlier, recasting can lead you to paying more interest over the life of the loan, almost $100,000 more in our early example. Ultimately, what you're doing with recasting is that you're giving the banks more years and more time to collect interest from you, and to me, that's really not financial freedom, that's just more comfortable form of debt. Now, I do see recasting having more benefits actually with rental properties as opposed to personal residences. I'll have a separate video as to why I think that way, but in the meantime, recasting has its place, but I'd personally rather see you use that lump sum cash as part of the accelerated banking strategy to accelerate your path to becoming debt-free. And so while I do see recasting having its place, I personally rather see you use that lump sum money as part of accelerated banking strategy or to invest, right? And ultimately accelerate your path to becoming debt-free and growing your wealth that way. So the ultimate question, should you recast your mortgage? Well, it depends on your goals. If you want to lower your monthly payments and you're okay with staying in debt and costing you more money down the road, then recasting could be a good option. But if your goal is to pay off your mortgage faster and save money on interest, I believe that there are better strategies like accelerated banking that could help you get to financial peace of mind a lot sooner. And so friends, if you found this video to be helpful, be sure to share, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe for more financial education content. And let me know in the comments, are you considering recasting your mortgage? Or are you more so interested in paying off your mortgage faster? With that said, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.